Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I got a really great show for you today. I have a couple of gentlemen that I met at a local Fresno real estate meetup. Really attracted by what they're doing. They have a great partnership, and I think they are just going to kill it in this business. And most importantly, they're great people. But I'd be remiss if we didn't recognize the mothers of the world. This will be airing on Mother's Day in the US, and I want each of us to take a chance to say hi to our moms and thank them for everything. I'll go ahead and go first just because I have the mic. Mom, if you're watching this, I want to thank you for all you've done. You made tons of sacrifices. Many of them I can't or didn't appreciate at the time. Lots of tough decisions for my sister and I, and just know that I appreciate you for all of those. So have a great day. I hope you have fun, and I'll talk to you later. All right, so let's welcome Darren and Mike to the show. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Excellent. Darren, why don't I give the mic to you first, and you go ahead and say hi to your mom and all that.
All right. Happy Mother's Day to my mom and to my wife, two very, very special women in my life. I hope that they both will have a great, wonderful, memorable, and fun day.
Excellent.
So love you both.
There you go. And Mike?
All right. So I want to say happy Mother's Day to my mom first. Thank you for just I think always smiling and just being a positive role model in the sense of, she always says, always keep a smile on your face, because you never really know who you're going to embrace or who you're going to see. And it's just always positive vibes that you can give to someone, no matter, how hard the day could be going for them. So that's one thing that, I really want to appreciate my mom for, because I think I live that every day. And then also my wife for allowing me to be able to do what I do, and be an awesome mother to our children, and, really just be a strong, staple in my life.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you both for embarrassing me. I want to call out my wife as well. Thank you for being a tremendous mother to our daughter, and it's amazing to see what you've done. You're the big part of why we're successful here and all of that. And to Mike's mom, I want a special shout out, because your son lives that phrase. He was sitting in the front row of the event with a gigantic smile, and he lives what you asked him to do. So as someone you don't know, I can echo the fact that your son is living your advice. So congratulations. So gentlemen, with this, why don't you sort of introduce us to what you do, where you are, kind of how your partnership works, and this time maybe we'll start with Mike. Again, I know your story from the show, but let's tell everybody else.
All right, so my name is Michael Butler. I actually, I just got into real estate investing probably in January. I heard the word or whatever it was, wholesaling, and from that moment, I think I just indulged myself with what the term was, and really what it was and how it really applied to real estate investing. From that point on, I just developed goals to be more of a well-rounded real estate investor, and not use wholesaling as a fundamental aspect of being able to build and generate more.
Very cool. And Darren?
Me, I am a real estate agent first, and I also own some rental properties. Own 5 rental properties at the moment. Just purchased one in Texas, 4 here local. I've had a real estate license for 7 years. Real estate team. My wife and I are business owners for a real estate team here in town, and we've been doing that for 3.5 years or so now. We're in the top 25, or top 1%, top 25 in our local MLS. So the real estate team is doing pretty good. We help investors buy and sell. We help them flip as well, and so we figure whenever we have the opportunity to take advantage of some of those opportunities that come across our desks or come across our phones, and add one rental at a time to our portfolio.
I appreciate that. He's the man, right? Yeah. He and his wife, the team. Yeah. One thing so it's clear that your bond, the two of you have a great bond. I don't know this answer, but I'll ask it. How long have you all known each other?
I was thinking about this on the way over here. So I believe we've known each other for about 6 years, because we used to live in the same apartment together before I purchased my first house, single or home to live in. And so I think it's been about 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, I was in college. him and his wife, Cam, they actually stayed right below my wife's aunt and uncle. And so when we kind of met him, I knew his younger brother. Yeah. And when I found out that this was his older brother, and we all went to the same high school. He's obviously older than me. So
notice how he threw that out there.
Yeah, but I think us going to the same high school, I think ultimately, we went to Sunnyside High School here in Fresno, and it was a new high school in a sense, but I think our community, when it evolves around our high school, is usually we tend to gravitate towards each other.
Yeah.
Yes. And I would say one other thing about Mike that he didn't mention. Mike went to Fresno State, played football.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Caught some passes from the car.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's how we know each other, about 5-6 years.
Wow, I would have guessed the bond would have been 10 or 15 years. You guys just seem to click. We seem to be on the same page when we met. So clearly, you two have something going, and that's fun to see, right? Partnerships that work like that are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I want to throw out there just in the beginning is Mike, you shared your story at the event. Maybe we'll give it more color now, right? You started in January. You already have a demanding full-time job. You've had some stuff come in and out, but you just had your first deal, if I remember correctly. So why don't we tell that story? Because I thought you said it very well. It's grind, it takes work, it takes focus. And, oh, by the way, you have a very demanding full-time job. So let's not lose sight of that. So go for it.
Sure. So my full-time job is I'm teaching. So yeah, that takes up a lot of time. But like I said, we fell into it when in January. I told myself January 1st because again I found out what wholesaling was probably towards the end of we were on Christmas break.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, January 1st, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm about to just hit the ground running. I don't even know how I stumbled upon the duplex. I think I was probably just driving for dollars, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And no, I was. And,
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I was just driving for dollars, and I seen it. I mean, it looked like it was just beat up, and so I remember I just put it into the deal machine app. He said I got my deal machine.
Yes, I see that. Maxwell would be very impressed.
Yeah. Actually, that's where you got all most of your education.
That's where I got a lot of my education from was Maxwell.
I've met that young man, and he is just as genuine in person as he is. He is authentic. He's one of the best. So I'm sorry.
Gravitate to him.
Agreed.
And so I skipped, step by step. I got back on Maxwell's Facebook group, Wholesaling Elite, and I just followed it step by step. And I called up the guy. I got lucky. I used True People Search to find the number. Called him. Got in contact with the owner. He wanted like $215,000 for the duplex. And I think I know what I'm doing in the sense of looking up ARVs, and that's kind of where Darren came in because I'm like, hey, this is what I'm getting. Can you give me an idea of what you think it's worth? And so he kind of coached me on how to look up comps and stuff like that. Excuse me. And so then I'm like, dude, I told the owner or the seller, I'm like, you're too high for me. I can't. It's not really an investment. And so I just kept the relationship going because one thing that I really did learn was, you want to build a relationship with these sellers. You don't want it to always be about the property. You don't want it to be about the money aspect of it. And so we just left it at that. I told him, if you ever decide to sell, I would love to buy it. February comes around. He wants about $175 for it. I'm like, I appreciate it, but you're still a little too high for me. He was in the middle of flipping or rehabbing one of his other homes, so it wasn't a priority to him. And then I think towards the end of, it was about mid-April?
April, yeah.
Mid-April, he texted me and he said, hey, I'm ready to sell at $135. So I remember sitting in the living room, and at this point I had deals kind of fall through, so I didn't want to get too excited. Going 4 months and not a deal yet, you kind of question yourself sometimes. So it was like this just dropped out of the sky. Hey, I'm ready to sell at $135, and I'm like, whoa, he just dropped like $40,000 off of, in a month. So to me, that told me there was the motivation. There's not the motivation, but there's some type of motivation there for him to drop his price by 40 grand. And so I think I dug into that more. And once I found out why it was that it dropped, we have a guy, Alan Folio. He's a big time investor here in Fresno. I found out that he had an appointment with one of his employees, I think Monday. And so I said, well, if I let Alan's guy go on this appointment on Monday, I'm not getting this deal. Because Alan was, in a sense, he was one of the buyers, And so I set the appointment on Sunday. I knew Darren told me that if I could get it under contract, that he would get it from me at 135. 135, and that's what the seller was asking for. So I knew I needed to at least get it to about 130. Went on an appointment. We walked it, took videos, took pictures. I asked him, I said, hey, would you take like 127 for it? And he was like, what about 129.5? And I was like, bingo. I was like, let's lock it up, We locked it up, and we just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
From that point, you kind of took over.
Yeah. So from that point, so I was going to personally buy it and add it to my portfolio.
Yeah.
And then I knew of a gentleman from LA that was interested in, he was doing a 1031 exchange and had a limited amount of time, about 10 days left before he needed to identify the next investment.
Yep.
So,
motivation.
And so I contacted him and let him know, hey, I have this property that I'm going to buy, but I'd be willing to give it to you or allow you to purchase it, so that way you can complete your 1031 exchange, right? Helping everybody along the way.
Yeah.
Was the mentality. And so we looked up comparables, and there was another property duplex across the street that had sold at 165, and that was in similar condition. And so Mike said, well, what if we offered it, a little bit less than that? Told that to the investor. Investor said, no, that number doesn't work for me. How about we meet, here? And that gave enough meat on the bone for Mike to make a little bit more. And then, for Mike to make a little bit more money over that. And so it helped him out. It helped Mike out, close his first deal. And I was satisfied because I helped somebody that I knew purchase an investment that they will hold on to for many years. And then, and it was under market value. So it was a win-win-win-win situation all the way around.
Yeah. So there's so much in that story I want to peel apart, because people watching this, I hope the folks on Wholesaling Elite, right? That's the group on Max's group. Yeah. I hope they watch this video, because it's a struggle, right? You started January 1, you did, 120 days, 4 months. You had some fits and starts and hopes and desires and locked stuff up that didn't work, right? That's part of this business. Would you agree?
100%. You don't know what works and what doesn't work until you lock something up and you can't move it.
Yeah. And then again, let's not forget that you're a teacher, but also, as I recall, you're the football coach, which I'm guessing is not, I'm guessing it consumes more time than just being a teacher, I'm guessing.
I think I indulged a little bit more because we're in the off season right now. I'm actually the receivers coach at Clovis High School.
Oh, okay.
And, the timing for this was just, it was right, because it allowed me to really dive into this real estate and get the ball rolling before we hit spring ball coming up in I think about a week. Okay,
very cool. And then again, Darren, you're talking about the win-win-win-win scenario. I truly believe that attitude or approach or whatever you want to call it is going to key a couple of things, both continued success, but more importantly, it's going to give both of you the longevity, right? You both are young men, and this is a business that you can do forever. It's not like football, right, where the average career is, sub 30, right? Most folks are out before they're 30. So, where did the desire for real estate come from for both of you, right? Maybe we'll go to Darren first this time. Where did it come from, right? You and your wife are agents. You're the top 1%. I guess that's in the country.
No, not yet.
Not yet. What your goal? Top 1%.
Your goal, yes, our goal. But here in town.
Okay.
Here in town.
So where did that desire come from?
So I originally wanted to become. I originally was an investor, or wanted to be an investor, after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Back in 2004. I was in college, left college a year and a half. My whole perspective on life and life in general changed. So I wanted to be an investor. So I was taking little steps back then, moved away for a couple of years, got sick, came back, And then that's when I met my wife at a bank that I was working at the time.
Okay.
I said, okay, so if I'm going to stay here and not move back to Southern California where I was living, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And my thought was, how can I make the biggest impact on people's lives? I was thinking of doing some sort of entertainment because I was doing some acting out in Southern California. And so I just want to make a big impact and be a pivotal part of people's journey, right? Also wanted to do some real estate investing. So I said, okay, why don't I become a real estate agent, help people on that side, and then opportunities will come as they come and be able to invest as well. If I'm already in that space or in that field, then I'll have opportunities. I'll know the knowledge that I need to be a successful real estate investor. So that's how I got into this space is wanting to make a difference in people's lives. And I can make a difference in people's lives on both sides of spectrum there.
Yeah, and I can see that's authentic. Just meeting you, the conversations we had at the event, I can see that kind of service first attitude. So you hold that very true. So Darren, you mentioned Christmas break. I'm sorry, Mike, you mentioned Christmas break, something on Maxwell's, a show or whatnot caught your attention. What attracted you to the wholesaling game at the jump?
So at the moment I was actually just, since we were on break, I kind of was just, I would lay in bed at night and I would watch Breakfast Club interviews.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And one of the guests on there was Mark Whitten.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Whitten.
Yeah.
And he got on there and he was talking about kind of just like Black wealth. And he was talking about, building generational wealth and how as a Black community sometimes we put ourselves in debt by because we're always raised, go to school, go to college, we put ourselves in debt, and then we spend our whole life paying down debt and we leave nothing for us. And so, you just kind of reevaluate kind of not your life, but you think about that, like, how can I build some type of generational wealth for my kids, for my grandkids? And so when Mark got on there and he dropped wholesale and he said, a misconception is that you had to have money in order to do real estate investing. And that's when he talked about wholesaling. And so to me, it was like a light bulb just kind of went off and I'm like, well, what's this? And so from that point, I put it in YouTube and Maxwell was the first, name that came up. And I went all the way to the beginning of some of his first videos. And from that point, I think my wife thinks I pretty much neglected her because from that point, I'm just like, there's no way this stuff is real. I'm like, there's no way people are making this type of money. And there's no way, like, I think I gravitated towards it because I think as a teacher, one thing that really was hard for me is that I like to go. And one thing I didn't know what my longevity would be in the classroom because at some point you're kind of capped off.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that. I didn't like that I can bust my butt for, so long and make this much.
Yeah.
It wasn't always about the money part of it, but it was more getting the true value, I guess, for myself. And when I looked at real estate, it was one of those things that it works as you work. And so whenever you can give me an opportunity to really dictate, what my bank account looks like, or, how much I can help other people. And I love the fact that there was no ceiling to it. And I think that's ultimately what gravitated me towards it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, it's been said a couple of times, but I'll say it again. Maxwell is legit. He is authentic. I would go back and watch his stuff. I watch his stuff every week. And I don't even wholesale. I still like the message that he gives, right? I'm just a buy and hold guy. And I could listen to that guy all day. He's awesome. So I am curious now that I guess let's ask this question. So let's pretend it's you the day before you get that text, Mike, right? Okay. You're now into it. I don't know. Let's call it 120 days. You've had some fits and starts. You're probably feeling a little stressed. You're probably starting to doubt yourself. You're probably doubting wholesaling. What would you tell yourself now that you know it works, right? You cash the check. What would you tell yourself? Because again, there's a lot of people in your shoes, right? They've been following Max. They've been trying. They think they've been trying. They've done banded sides. They've done drying for dollars and just nothing's happening. What do you want to tell them?
Yeah. Kind of the same thing that I was telling myself at the moment. That it works and that it's going to pay off. And then that's what Max's wholesaling elite Facebook page, that honestly, that was where I was able to keep going. That kept me motivated, because every day you got somebody in there, not necessarily posting a check, but they kind of just tell the story leading up to it, and just how much it felt to them. And I think seeing that positive message every day is what kept me going. And I knew that even though there wasn't a deal that had closed, there was a lot of progress there. Someone would ask me about wholesaling, and I would sit there and I would catch myself telling them about it. And I'm like, whoa, there's no way like a month ago or 2 months ago I would have been able to explain it at this type of level. And so it was just everything, even though I had deals fall out, the way I negotiated, was progressing. How comfortable I was talking to sellers had changed. When I was driving for dollars, I was able to recognize houses differently, being able to look at different details. So I seen the growth. And I think ultimately I knew, if you don't believe that it's going to happen, it probably won't, And so even though I hadn't seen it, I knew that when the text message came in, I wasn't surprised, because I knew that's how it was going to happen, something like that. I knew I had to stop worrying about closing a deal and just worry about doing the work, and that the deal would just come out of nowhere. So it's almost like unbelievable in the sense of how it happened, because I knew it would happen that way.
Yeah, focus on the process,
not
just
yes.
the results.
I fell in love with the process.
Yeah.
Because the process, I mean, it's the grind. If you don't love the grind of real estate, like, it's crazy, right? It's a hunt. So how could you just not love it? The deal just happens to be, something that it makes it worth it. But to me, just finding the deal is the best part.
I couldn't agree more. The hunt, believing in the process, and when you execute the process, it's a numbers game, right? And it's a numbers game, no matter if you're your first time or you're Max Maxwell. The only thing that happens, the difference between you and Max Maxwell, is his conversions are probably better, because he's seen so many things, and he's clearly an entrepreneur, and he could probably squeeze out a deal out of something you and I would both go, I don't know what that is, right? But it's still a numbers game, right? No matter if you're him or us. And that's pretty fantastic. But Darren, let's go back to you and talk about buy and hold, landlording, and how you're helping people. How do you see that? Because some of the stuff, or actually most of your stuff's probably in the MLS. You got retail buyers, busy professionals down in LA or whatever it is. How does that kind of fit in all of this?
Meaning when I have my agent hat on?
Yes.
And how I'm helping other investors?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when I have my agent hat on, my fiduciary is always to the other person.
Correct.
Right? Yep. I'm trying to unpacking the question in my mind.
Okay, no problem. Let me try again, because I gave you too much. I was too long-winded, and I knew that it came out convoluted. So you're
investing, but then it was
the
agent. So
bad question. So you're an agent, and you have outside investors, right? So hopefully, what happens with this question is people call you, because at the end, you're going to give your phone number. So if you're an investor out of the area, interested in Fresno, how can you help them? What do you see? What does that look like? Let's get you some business.
Got it. Okay. So as I'm an agent, I am constantly looking for deals for investors, not only for myself, but for others as well, right? Gentlemen like Mike that focus on finding deals before they're even a deal is a key relationship to have. So if Mike has something that that I don't want personally, or that won't work for me, then of course I will tell other investors about it. Besides working with a wholesaler and an agent that has a good relationship with a wholesaler, in the MLS, my wife, she checks the MLS every day for investment opportunities. She quickly crunches the numbers. She asks me to double check those numbers. And then if it works, then we'll let somebody know about it, let an investor know about it. And we are constantly, we have 5 people on our team, 5 agents on our team. So every day we're out talking, building relationships, having conversations with buyers and homeowners. And if there's an investment opportunity through that avenue, then they tell me about it, and then I will tell an investor about it as well. So there's on-market opportunities and there are off-market opportunities. Because we are proactive in our approach to finding deals, whether it's working with a wholesaler or just making phone calls every day as we do.
Yeah, and again, let's not lose sight of the fact that you are also an investor. As a investor myself, specifically buy and hold, I like working with agents that see properties with that lens. The fact that you hold rentals already is so attractive to guys, or at least in my opinion, to guys like me, because we frankly don't want to talk to the open house crowd, right? If you're an agent, and I don't mean anything negative by it, but if you hold open houses every Saturday and Sunday and 99% of your work is to owner occupants, you can make a great living. You can be awesome. All of that. This is not meant as a negative or a slight. It's just, I don't want to talk to you because my world is different. I look at every opportunity different. I don't want the pretty 3-2, 2-car garage, 2-story, brand new paint, granite. That stuff doesn't cash flow, man. I'm a buy and hold person. I don't want that stuff. So I think people should call you if they're truly investors out of the area because A, you know Fresno, B, you've been investing for a long time. So I think that gives you a special step up, and you should probably push that more, frankly.
I should.
Yeah.
I
So,
haven't been.
yeah.
Can I
So,
add to that?
Sorry?
Can I add to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I think that's where our relationship really grew.
Absolutely.
Because his ability to use different lenses. I know the first step for me was reaching out to him because when I thought real estate, I thought Darren. Darren and Cam. So I said, let me call Darren and see how, when it comes to investing, how does an agent look at investors? How do they look at someone wholesaling? I wanted to know when I was doing something, how to carry myself when talking to an agent. How did they view it? And so at that point, it really became a learning process for both of us. He had rentals already, but there was obviously more that kind of intrigued him that he had questions about.
Yeah.
Just like he had a lot of questions about the retail side of it. And so I think with that, we just meshed them together. There's sometimes he's like, hey, don't word it like that. Word it like this, right? Because sometimes I'm just like, hey, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, you got to be patient. You got to, talk to him like this. Ask him this question, the duplex, right? I asked more single family questions, and he was like, what about the tenants? Is it month to month? Are they on a 12-month lease? What is the rent that they're paying? We have to look at what I'd be making out of it.
Yeah,
what the income is on that. Yeah, and so just little details like that I know that I wouldn't have asked or I would have struggled with had I not had him in my ear. And I think that's why when I find investment properties, it's not about making the 10 to 15 to 20 grand off of it. I'll settle for 5 every time if it meant him getting a deal. Because I tell people all the time, I didn't get into this to, make a quick check and go. Yeah. I plan to be in this for a while. And I know building a relationship with someone where he knows that he's always going to get a good deal from me because that's just my guess gratitude in the sense of how much he's done for me. And so he'll always get first shot at my deals.
Oh, that's awesome. That's what I told you. I told you guys have been together longer than 6 years. At least that's how it felt. I was like, that's awesome. So let's fast forward a little bit. So, I guess let's talk about it this. So it's May 11th. This will air May 12th. What do you guys see the rest of the year? What do you think's going on? Maybe we'll ask it this way. We'll go to Darren first. As an agent, what do you see going on in the market right now? Let's just keep it to just Fresno. Feel a little toppy, and let's talk single family homes so we can take the bigger stuff out. Like single family homes, owner occupant. What do you think's going on right now? Is listings up, price reductions? What's going on?
Yeah, good question. So on the retail side of things, the market, well, I'll go back to like around September, October of last year. September, October of last year, interest rates went up and the market is slowed down. And it's interesting because right around when school started last year, when things started to slow down a little bit, you start to see a lot more days on the market and you start to see price decreases as well. Fast forward to the beginning of the year when the Fed started to lower the interest rates, the market got strong again. The activity was there. Buyers were, putting applications with their lenders. Sellers were ready to sell, and so it's been good so far this year. Continuing on, I believe it will continue to be good as long as interest rates stay where they're at now, because it's an incentive for buyers.
Yeah.
When we talk to buyers, we talk about long-term. Think of a house as a long-term investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if your money costs about 4% nowadays to buy a home, pay attention to that 4% and that monthly nut, or that monthly payment that you have to be making for the next 30 years if you keep the home for 30 years. That's more important than what the values are right now, right? Mm-hmm. Values are up. They have been up for the last 5 to 7 years. Since 2012, they've been on the rise. Mm-hmm. So for sellers, it's a good time to sell because they have equity in their home. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them that I'm helping are selling one property and then moving to another property, taking the profits that they have, putting it towards another property, and then keeping their monthly payment low. So it's helping them. Buyer, I would say the fastest price point of where homes are selling for is under the median price point. That's what we talked about at the meetup. Under 250, under 300, you're seeing properties move a lot faster because a lot more buyers here in town can afford that.
Yeah.
And if you get above 300,000, it's a different ball game. Higher income, better jobs, and things like that. So those homes tend to take a little bit longer time on the market. So I think moving forward, you'll continue to see the nice condition, lower price properties move fast, and higher price properties sometimes struggle to find the right price where a buyer is willing to say yes. So their prices will be dropping.
Yeah, one thing I would say about Fresno, if you're 2x the median, so let's just call it the median 250, right? If you're selling something above $500,000, oof, that market is exploded in inventory, mm-hmm. and stuff is not selling.
The market and a lot of price reductions in that.
Yeah.
I see the CAR stat, California Association of Realtors stat, that about 32.9% of listings had some type of price reduction.
Wow.
The median price reduction was 3.9%, so just under 4% was the price reduction off of what they first hit the market at.
Yeah, very cool. And Mike, kind of a similar question for you, or just, I don't know if it's a question or a statement, but when the market changes and you have these little hiccups and you see days on market and price reductions increasing, I could tell you, as someone's been in the game for almost 20 years, your world is about to get better, because there are sellers that will be in situations where they have to sell. Yeah. And it's not the ridiculously hot sellers market of 12, 13, 14, 15, where they just throw it up and multiple offers. So I think you're getting in at just an awesome time. So what are you doing? What are you doing the rest of the year to take this check you got on this first duplex and kind of double down? What's your world look like?
Oh man, for a while it was kind of hazy because when you do it with nothing, in a sense, you just try to make sure you're milking everything. And so when you get a check and you feel like you cannot do everything, but you can dabble in things that you wanted to dabble in, but now you're almost afraid of dabbling in it because you want to hold on tight to it. So I think just trying to find a niche. I think that's kind of where I'm at. One thing Max always talks about is kind of don't spread yourself. And my wife tells me the same thing. Don't spread yourself too thin where you're trying to do pre-foreclosures and absentee owners and high equity and all these different avenues. She was like, find something and really just try to master that one. Right now I'm attacking. I'm not gonna say what I'm attacking. So I'm just trying to
you have a focus now. You just have a focus, right?
Yeah, I have a focus now that I'm gonna dive into, and hopefully if I can get one lead out of that, then one deal out of that, then I'll be fine.
I'm curious, Mike, when you look at let's say the rest of the year, let's call it May 1st, so 7 months for the rest of the year. Would you call the year a success if you only got one more deal? Would you want two? Where does that success line go?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know one more deal wouldn't be enough for me. I know at this point, I at least want, now that I got that first one under my belt, I want to find a way to be able to get a deal a month at least.
Okay.
I had set a goal at the beginning of the year to make $100,000 with investing.
Okay.
So I think once I get there, obviously it's probably going to increase. I'm going to want to do more.
Yeah, of course. Some is good, more is better.
It's kind of where I am, and I did say that at the end of the year I wanted to have between 5 and 10 rentals. Will it
Okay.
happen? Probably not. But I mean, I wanted to put that goal up there. So if I even finish the year off with 2 or something, to me that's
More than
what I started. Well, more than I even thought about. And it scares the crap out of me even thinking about it. But is that fear, or is that why? I'm more on figuring out why I feel a certain way. It's not because I don't feel like I'm prepared for it.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's happened so fast that it's scary. But I know if it's scary, that means I'm usually going in the right direction.
Well, you're doing the right things, man. Success comes out of being uncomfortable and growing. I do love the fact that you stated a goal, right? 1 a month, I think's awesome. 100K a year, nice round number. Go for it, and some rentals. You got to shoot for the stars, and if you don't get there, you land. You still got a pretty view. So I think that's awesome for both of you. So as we wrap this up, I want to give each of you an opportunity to sort of offer up, what you're looking for, or how you can help, or how, if people get a hold of you, your pages, Facebook page or websites, whatever you want. Let's get you all some business. Why don't we go to Darren first?
Yeah, so you can reach me at on Instagram. I'm at dad_realtor. So dad realtor, because I am a dad first. Nice. And a realtor and investor second. So Instagram at dad_realtor. My phone number is 559-312-7467. You can look me up on Facebook, Darren Wade, or my team, Strive Real Estate Group. We're here at Keller Williams. And yeah, that's the best way to contact me.
Yeah. And again, if you're an out-of-state investor or out-of-area investor, I'd look Darren up because, again, he's an investor. He knows it. He sees it from your angle. So he gave you his phone number. You want to give your phone number one more time?
Yes, 559-312-7467. And I want to give a quick plug to Jason Pritchard.
Yes.
Which I know personally as well. Jason Pritchard helped me immensely with a couple of these rental properties. He helped me find the hard money financing and find the no seasoning refinance, long-term financing that I use. And he was pivotal in the couple of rentals that I purchased. So props to Jason. Also shout out to David Green. He's up in the Bay Area. He's now a host on Bigger Pockets podcast. So I follow his book pretty closely on long distance investing. So I understand what investors from outside of the area are looking for. The agent is there's four cores, what do you call it? The agent, a contractor, a property manager, and the financing. So when you talk to a rockstar agent like myself, I know those other people, and it makes it easier for you, an outside investor, to invest here locally and have confidence doing that. The same thing with the agent that I'm talking to in Texas right now. Is use that book.
That's awesome. And again, see, I'm telling you folks, if you're out of the area, look them up. Okay, Mike, how can people get a hold of you if they're looking to sell something fast for cash, advice, where do you want to help? How can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at butler.buyshouses, butler.buys.houses on Instagram. You can call or text me. My phone number is 559-366-2936. And if you just know anyone who, in a sticky situation, I'm looking to solve problems at the end of the day. And so if you know anyone facing pre-foreclosures, they have a property that they haven't seen in 10 years, or they have someone, a tenant staying in their house and just tearing it up, and they're just ultimately tired of it. I'd love to be able to be an assistant, or be an assistant to them to help solve that problem for them. Ultimately, I'm looking to just build more relationships with people in real estate. So just look me up on Instagram and definitely send me a message or text me, call me if you have questions. If you are a new investor, definitely reach out to me. I'd love to be able to help you, on your way, because it's definitely one of those things where you want to be able to find people who are in that field and be able to answer questions that you have as you're going. I definitely want to tell people to go to your local real estate investing meetups. That's where I was able to meet a lot of people and be able to have a lot of my questions answered just by sometimes sitting there and being a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, please look up Mike if you're looking to get out of a situation. I can tell you, let me think, probably 30% of the deals I bought from Wholesaler last year was actually I'll call it family drama. You know, somebody older generation owns a house, somebody in the younger generation moved in. There's now friction, no payments, repairs, and older generation doesn't want to evict, but they want out. They don't want the liability. It's a great opportunity to call a wholesaler such as Mike, because again, they're non-emotional, right? They don't have the relationship. So if you're in one of those situations and you want out in a smooth fashion, I'd call a wholesaler like Mike. And Mike, why don't you give your number one more time?
Phone number is 559-366-2936.
Excellent, guys. Thank you so much for doing this. Again, if you're a mother out there, happy Mother's Day. Wife with children, happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. It's a day to appreciate all the women in our lives. So let's have some fun and take care, gentlemen.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
All right.